we're going to talk about today is corresponding parts of congruent triangles being congruent. We're going to shorten that and make it an acronym, CPCTC. Okay? Don't try to say that fast 5 times because you will not be able to do it. It's really hard. Okay, so what this means is if I have 2 triangles that are congruent, so this triangle is congruent to this triangle, it means each part that's corresponding, like this side and this side would be congruent. This side and this side would be congruent because both of these are on the left, both of these are on the right, both of these are on the bottom, so they're the same. And then each one of these angles that are in the same position will also be equal. Does that make sense? So each corresponding, so here corresponding means in the same spot on both triangles. Those are going to be the same. Okay? So why I wanted you to have the highlighter is here we're going to keep up with what parts correspond with what. So with your highlighters, take one color. A is going to correspond with D because it tells me that triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF. So A comes first, D comes first. So those go together. Then we have B goes with E, and C goes with F. Okay? So that means when I draw my triangles and label them, I have to make sure those go in the same spot on both triangles. Okay, so wherever I put A on my left triangle, I want to put D on my right triangle. Wherever I put B on my left triangle, I want to put E in the same spot on my right triangle. And wherever I put C on my left triangle, I want to put F in that same spot. So do y'all see how it's in the same order? Okay. Now we can label. So it tells me A to B, this side right here, is 15. It tells me B to C, this side right here, is 20. And A to C, this side right here, is 25. Then it tells me F to E, which is this side in this triangle, is 3x minus 7. And it wants me to find x. So the only side that has x is E to F. So tell me, in the other triangle, what side corresponds with EF? BC. So what do we know about those two sides if they're congruent? They're equal, so we set them equal. We get 3x minus 7 equals 20. Then from there we just solve for x. So we add 7 to both sides. That gives me 3x equals 27. Divide by 3. And x equals 9. Is that pretty simple? Okay, let's try one that doesn't just give me a whole bunch of numbers and maybe has an expression. So let's look at number 3. So number 3, take your highlighters again. Y is going to go with what letter? A. U is going to go with what letter? C. And then M goes with what letter? Very good. Okay, so when I draw my triangles, I want to make sure that I put the same color in the same spot. Okay, so wherever I put Y on the left triangle, I want to put A on the right triangle. Then wherever we put U on my left-hand triangle, I want to put C on my right. And wherever I put E, I want to put, sorry, not E. M goes on this triangle. Wherever I put M on this triangle, I want to put E on this triangle. Okay? So now that we've got it labeled, let's put in the sides. So A to C would be 2x plus 30. A to E is 14, and C to E is 22. Then it gives me Y to U is 7x plus 10. So, what's the only side that we're given in YUM, triangle YUM? YU. So what side corresponds with YU on this triangle? AC. So we're going to take those two and we set them equal. So we're going to do 2x plus 30 equals 7x plus 10. We want to solve for x, so we could subtract 2x first. That gives me 30 equals 5x plus 10. Then I would want to get rid of this 10 by subtracting 10 from both sides. That gives us 20 equals 5x. Then to get x by itself, we divide by 5. And x equals 4. Okay, so how do you feel about those? Good. Okay, let's try one that doesn't even give us the expressions. They make us write our expressions. So let's look at 4 here, just because I want to make sure you know how to write. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight. I know that P goes with C, Q goes with D, and R goes with E. So I'm going to draw my two triangles. And I want to make sure I label them the same. So wherever P is in this triangle, I'm going to put C in this triangle. Wherever Q is in this triangle, I'm going to put D in this triangle. And wherever E is in this triangle, sorry, I keep doing that. Wherever R is in this triangle, I'm going to put E in this triangle. Okay, so the first thing it tells me is side PQ is 10 less than 3 times a number. So that's going to be 10 less means minus or subtract. Than means swap. So in just a second we're going to swap that, and then 3 times a number is 3x. So what the swap means is instead of writing 10 minus 3x for PQ, yes, we're going to write 3x minus 10. Okay, so this is 3x minus 10. Now, what side corresponds with PQ on the other triangle? CD. So am I given CD somewhere up here? Right here, right? So it tells me that CD is 4 more than a number. So that's 4 plus x, but since it has then, we have to swap, so it would be x plus 4. So this is going to be x plus 4. Is that enough to go ahead and solve for x? Yes. Okay, so let's take these two and set them equal. So this would be 3x minus 10 equals x plus 4. I would subtract x from both sides. That would give me 2x minus 10 equals 4. Then I would add 10 to both sides. And 2x would equal 14, which means x equals 7. Now, it does ask me for PQ. So to get PQ, we have to plug in 7 for 3. Give it back to him. So this is going to be 3 times 7 minus 10. 21 minus 10 is 11. So PQ equals 11. Now, really quick, PR, which it gave us up there, see how P is the first letter in this one, R is the second letter in this one, is actually this side right here, PR. What is the corresponding side to PR? CE. So does this match it? So could we have set these two sides equal? Yes, and you would have gotten the same thing, okay? So you could have done it either way. Okay, so what I want to look at now is everything that we've done is sides. I want to look at angles. So we're still going to do the same thing. Take your highlighters and highlight all the angles that go together. So we have W goes with L, I goes with U, and N goes with V. So if I draw two triangles, I want to make sure all of those are in the same spot. So where W is in this triangle, I want L to be in this triangle. Where I is in this triangle, I want U to be in this triangle. And then N goes here, V goes here. Okay, so now let's label. So it says W is 38, so this is 38. It tells me V is 102, and then it tells me I, which is right here, is 7x plus 5. Okay? So remember that W was yellow, so was L. I was pink, so was U, and then N was blue, and so was V. Now, if these are congruent, like it tells me, what do I know about W and L, those two angles? They're equal. So angle W is equal to angle L, right? And so is I and U, and so is N and V. So if I have two angles in this triangle, couldn't I take, since V is the same as N, couldn't I make this angle right here 102 since it's the same? Yes. And so what do I know about all three angles in a triangle? They add to 180. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do 7x plus 5 plus 138. Sorry, not 138. Plus 38 plus 102 equals 180. So from there, I want to go ahead and combine my like terms. So 5 plus 32 plus 5 plus 38 plus 102. What does that give us? 145. Then from there, we're just solving for x. So we would subtract 145. Very good. That would give us 35. Then we would divide both sides by 7, and so x equals 5. Okay, so are angles harder than sides? No. Okay, do you want to see how to do angles without having to draw your triangles? Okay, so let's look at number 6. In number 6, I'm still going to highlight. So C goes with B. Then if I have a C or a B, I'm going to come over here and highlight it in yellow. Then R goes with I. So if I have an R or an I, I'm going to come over here and highlight it with pink. and then y goes with G. So if I have a Y or a G, I'm going to come over here and highlight. So in a triangle, I should have what colors?
The same.
I should have the same. So what three colors should I have? Pink, yellow, and blue. Do I have a pink, yellow, and blue here?
Yes.
So what should all three of those add to be?
180.
180. So we're just going to take all three of those, 3x plus 5x plus 2x minus 10, and set it equal to 180. Then I want to combine my like terms, so we're going to add 3x plus 5x plus 2x. Okay, so 3x plus 5x plus 2x would give me 10x. Minus 10 equals 180. Then we would add 10 to both sides because we're trying to get x by itself. That gives me 10x equals 190. We divide by 10, and x equals 19. Okay, so if you use your highlighter, you can see you need one of each color to make up a triangle. And so if you add all three angles together, it should always equal 180. Okay? So that's it for just solving using CPCTC, but now I want to show you number 5 on your homework that I didn't have you do has to do with proofs using CPCTC. So if you will flip your paper over, I'm going to show you how to do a proof with CPCTC. Okay? It's actually not any harder than what we've been doing. We're actually going to do exactly the same thing that we've been doing the past 2 days. We're going to prove two triangles congruent, and then we're just going to add one step. Okay? So let's take number 1 and go ahead and prove that these triangles are congruent like we've been doing the last 2 days. So draw your chart and don't write super big because this one's going to actually have 6 steps because of what's implied by the given. So we're going to have our statement and our reason column. What comes first in the proof? The given. So O is the midpoint of RY, and RY bisects CW. And I know that because it's given. Okay, so the next thing that we did was we went up here and we looked at the given and we labeled this part. So if O is the midpoint of RY is this length right here, O is the midpoint. What does midpoint mean? It splits it into 2 equal parts. So if O is splitting it, it splits it into RO and OY. Now, up here, does it say RO is congruent to OY? No, so I need to record that RO is congruent to OY. And what would this definition be? Definition of midpoint. Very good. Okay, the next thing I want to label is RY bisects CW. So RY is cutting CW into 2 equal parts. So right here where it splits, it's going to make CO congruent to OW. Now, does it say that up there? No. Nope, so we need to write it down. CO is congruent to OW, and what would that definition be? Very good. Definition of bisect. Okay, do we have enough to prove these congruent? With a side and a side, and then just a side and a side? No. So I've got to look at something implied by the picture since I'm done with my given. Very good. Vertical angles. So these 2 angles are congruent. Now, how would I label that angle since I can't just label it O? ROC, so we're going to put angle ROC is congruent to, it would be YOW. And what's the reason for that? Vertical angle theorem. Okay, now do we have enough to prove?
Yes.
Okay, what would we be proving by here?
Side angle side.
Very good, side angle side. And let me show you how to write. This is probably the thing that I see the most mistakes on, is how to write the triangles are congruent. So, R, see how R is on the side of, with the orange tick mark? Which letter in this triangle is on the side with the orange? Y. Very good. Okay, and then they share O, right? And then that means that C and W are corresponding. So when I write this, if I write ROC is congruent to, that means I went yellow, pink, blue. I have to go yellow, pink, blue here. So triangle YOW. Okay, so here's the last step you put in there. If these are congruent triangles, doesn't that mean all the parts are congruent? Every side's the same, every angle's the same. So if that is true, then that means that, and this is our very last step, angle R would be congruent, angle R would be congruent to angle Y because of what we just learned. Corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent.